We have a different thing that's going on today. This weekend is Connect Link Weekend, and it's where we take the weekend. We believe it's vital. We believe it's important for folks to be connected more than just coming to church. And so this weekend, we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to do a short teaching, and then I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Noah, and he's going to actually interview some of these folks up here. They're either leaders of groups or they've been in a group, and they're going to talk to you about what it's done for them in their lives and encourage you to get involved. So we'll talk more about that in a moment. One thing that I just want to emphasize, I know you heard it from Sarah, or actually, I don't think she actually said it. Maybe she did. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. But anyway, just kidding. Jerry Savelle, Dr. Jerry Savelle will be here Wednesday night. How many have ever heard of him before? Amen. So make sure you come back out this Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Don't miss that worship experience. Bring someone out, bring a visitor out. All right, so every weekend here at the church, we believe at any given time when you're in a church worship experience that you have the potential to grow in your relationship with God. But we do not believe that that's the only place you can grow, nor you should grow. We believe as a church that God designed some other things for you for growth, and it is not just being here in church. In fact, what's happened, all churches have done this, or many churches have done it, and it's sort of just something we've all morphed into. But most churches, including ours, over the years, we've morphed into a consumer mentality. We come to church spiritually to consume, and that means this. We come to church, we get to church, we sit down, we hear the word, we're consuming, and that's about it, then we leave, and we're really not having a relationship with people because when you're in a row versus, being in a smaller group with people, it's different. We'll never discount this, we're never gonna stop this. We believe there's something important about being in church. But on the other hand, we believe it's important to be in a group. And so I'm gonna actually go to a verse of scripture in the book of Acts. So if you have a Bible, an iPhone, an iPad, or whatever kind of deal that you have to use to go to scriptures, why don't you go to Acts chapter 2? And I think all of us here today would agree, if we've been in church for any length of time, we all love the book of Acts. I mean, it's a great book, and we love seeing what happened in the book of Acts. But there's some things did in the book of Acts that the church doesn't do today, and we're gonna emphasize some of that. And we believe here at the church that groups will help us grow in our relationship with God. And one of the things that you'll hear from us in the weeks to come, months to come, is that we believe that circles are important, and we believe that everyone should be in a circle, and we believe that everybody needs to be known. Let me just tell you, you're not known just because you're in church today. We've tried every method to get to know people and to find out if people are here or not. We used to have people, swipe their cards so we could get them registered and we know if they're in church or they're not in church. It's just not the way that it works. God wants you to build relationships in circles so that you are known. God wants you to be known. You need to be known. Are y'all with me? And so Acts chapter 2, let's go there. And we believe groups can help change the consumer mentality versus, just coming in church and sitting in a row. Acts chapter 2, verse 42 says this: all the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship and sharing in meals, including the Lord's Supper, and to prayer. A deep sense of awe came over all of them. And then in verse 44, it says this: and all the believers met together in one place. That's what we're doing today. We're coming together. Last night we did it. Today we're doing it. They met in one place. Nothing wrong with that. But if you skip down to verse 46, it says this: they worshiped together at the temple each day, and they met in homes for the Lord's Supper, and they shared their meals with great joy and generosity. From these few verses of scripture, I just want to go over a few points. If you have the ability to take some notes, we encourage you to do that. They'll have the points up on the screen. But I believe this will help us understand in this church, our church, why we are doing groups and why we have such an emphasis on them. Number one, if you notice from the verses that we read, they had a devotion to living out the teachings of Jesus and the apostles. I want to ask you a question. How do you love one another? The Bible talks about love one another, pray for one another, rejoice with those that are rejoicing, weep with those that are weeping. How do you do that? Because I want you to know you don't do it right here, right now. There's someone sitting right here near you today, they'd like to weep right now. They're going through a really difficult time. But if that same person was in a group, they were in a circle, someone in that circle would know they're hurting. I can tell just by their face there's something going on with them. And they'd have a conversation with you. They would pray with you. But when you come into church, we pretty much can all cover that up. You know, we're just sitting in our rows. We're acting like we should. And no one knows what's going on in our lives. But it changes when you get in a circle. And I like what this says. They were devoted to the teachings of Jesus and of the apostles. So I believe in a group, it actually helps you grow in your relationship with God. In other words, listen, you're limited to growing in your relationship with God to a certain extent when you just come to church. You start to have something different happen, and here's what I found out. The consumer mentality is give me. In a group or in a circle, now you're not just give me, you're going to go ahead and give something to someone else. I believe that's important. How many believe it's important to be giving out what you get? How many know God did not make you to just get something in you? God made you to get something in you so you can give it out to someone else. I believe that takes place in circles. So groups are designed so that you can help get growth in your relationship with God. The second thing here is they had devotion to doing life together. If you read up there where we're reading in Acts chapter 2 and verse 42, it says that they had fellowship one with another. The word fellowship comes from the Greek word koinonia, and it literally means intimacy. And what they basically are saying by this word, it wasn't just this. This is not intimacy today. Are y'all out there? You might think it, you might be like, I got someone just too close to me. That's not intimacy. This is not intimacy. Intimacy is when you go into a group and there's 6 people, 8 people, and you begin to soap together, you begin to journal together, whatever it might be that you're doing, and you start to know each other. The first 4 or 5 weeks, you might be like, and then as the time goes on, you start to get to know that person, you share, you open up, and it changes something about you. So we have groups, that are designed. One group is called life groups. They're designed where you can just do common interests. So you might be here and say, I don't want to really get in a Bible study one, it's just not what I want to do. But I love to fish, so you might want to get in one like that, or you might want to form one yourself. Or I like to knit, whatever it might be. But groups are designed to build relationships. The other stuff's just there. Yeah, we like to fish together, but the whole deal is we're building relationships through and by doing that. And then if you notice number 3, the third thing that I want to talk about is it says they ate together. And eating together, in the Greek, this paints this picture. It's sort of, to me, this is what it paints. It's like an Italian family. If you don't know what an Italian family is like, all the family loves getting together. They love sitting down at tables. They love to eat. They love to yell at each other. Some of you are the same kind of background, they not yelling in a bad way, but they're all talking across the table. And some of the greatest relationships you'll ever build will be around fellowshipping with people eating food, right? How many here believe that? Come on, y'all look like you believe it. All right, never mind. Just kidding. Number 4. Number 4. You'll get that one later. Number 4. Then there was wholehearted prayer that took place. The last thing that it said in that verse was they prayed. And here's all I want to tell you is when you care about someone genuinely, when you start to know someone and you genuinely care about them, you will literally say, you know what? Something's going on and I'm going to genuinely be praying for you. I might not know what to say. I might not know exactly what to do, but I know to do this. I know I can pray for you, and I can pray that God will move in your situation, in your life. You begin doing that in a more intense way when you care about someone. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Today, when church is done in a little bit, we're not going to go real long because we're going to give you some extra time to get out there and go check out the groups that are available that you can get involved with. I'm going to ask you not to leave just because I'm going to go sit down. Pastor Noah's going to take over, and he's going to go ahead and interview some of these folks, and they're going to talk about the groups that they're in. I'm just asking you to do one thing. Listen with an open heart, and when church is done, go out there and check out the groups and get involved in one of them, okay? Y'all with me? Well, let's give it up for Pastor Noah.
Right. Hey, so like Pastor said, we have assembled a good-looking group of people that are sitting all around me right now, and these are individuals that either lead or have led or are overseeing groups or are involved or have been involved in a group at some capacity. So we thought, hey, you know what? Let's just go ahead and take an opportunity, take a weekend, and let you guys hear from people that are just like you, people that you're sitting in the congregation with that have lives that look just like yours, and let them tell you about what being involved or leading a Connect group looks like. So we're going to start off just by introducing ourselves. So I'm going to start to the man to my left. Introduce yourself and then say what groups you either lead or have been involved with.
My name's Pat Fioca. This is my wife, Alexis. We've been married 10 years, and we've attended Marriage University.
Hi, my name is Christina Freeman, and I actually lead a support group for nursing moms.
Good morning, my name is Val Tolbert, and I lead and coach Singles Connect groups.
Hello, my name is Andrea Plummer, and I lead Connect groups for our United High School students, and I'm also involved in a Connect group called Sisterhood for young adult females.
Good morning, my name is Joseph Tambunga, and I'm part of a men's Connect group that meets weekly, but also corresponds throughout the week by text message.
My name's Jason Sackett. This is my wife, Catherine. We are leaders of a business Connect group. We own our own small business, have 4 kids. She's a CPA, college professor. Did I miss anything?
Nope.
She said nope.
My name is Steve Hillard. I am a men's prayer leader, but I'm also up here representing all of the prayer groups.
Cool. I'm Noah, and I am involved. I feel like I'm like confessing a problem right now. Glad I'm my support group. I'm in a weekly Connect group. Actually in that group with Joseph. Like he said, we meet weekly, and then we try and text daily devotions or go through teaching series together, that kind of stuff. Let's talk about, before we get into maybe a little more of the deeper questions, the practicalities. Because I think there's a lot of people that sit out there, they have busy lives, and we'll get into that in a few minutes, and they want to say, you're asking me to get involved with a group, go someplace maybe I don't know, with people that I don't know, with time that maybe I don't have. Tell me what your group looks like, because I know me personally, I'm kind of a homebody. I like to hang out at home. People are like, where do you like to go on vacation? I'm like, my backyard. Like I'm good. So when you're like, hey, come out to a Connect group at somebody's house, my first question is like, do they have cats? Is that weird? Like, are they kind of freaky? You know, so just give me the practicalities. What does your guys' groups look like? How often do they meet? And where do they meet? And kind of paint a picture for people real briefly on the surroundings, what they can expect to get into. Why don't you start at your end?
We meet bi-weekly here at the church, every other Thursday, actually first and third Thursday of the month at 6:30, and we go till right around 7:30, 8 o'clock. And it's just men getting together, and you can be a very experienced prayer. You can be a person that maybe has never prayed before. So everyone's welcome. Sorry, ladies, it's just all men, but we come in and pray for whatever I feel that's on my heart. Most of the time we say 99% of the time we start off praying for Pastor Mike and Barb and for the church and for you and for the Connect groups and teams, and everything else is whatever's on our heart. So it doesn't matter what level you're at with prayer. I end up teaching in prayer some, and then we pray.
Our Business Connect group meets at the coffee shop in the morning. We have coffee and pastries, and we talk about business from God's perspective and the ethics that go into that.
We meet every week on Wednesdays just for lunch, and then like I said, what we do is we have a topic or a message, a book, just something, and we're all going on the same. So every day, everybody contributes through text message and then just shares that way. So that makes it real easy. And then we meet on Wednesdays and discuss what's coming up.
Ours is Sunday evenings. We'll meet, and it's at the Laps house, Tim and Cindy Laps, bi-weekly.
And to add to that, it's just such a cozy, relaxed setting. It's in their home on comfortable couches with lots of food, and just a super relaxed setting that we can all just open up and be transparent with each other.
We meet at my house, and it's bi-weekly on a Monday, and we obviously nurse our babies, so we have an all-you-can-eat buffet. Just kidding.
Okay.
The singles groups, there are several singles groups, and there's no one set time that the groups meet. Some of the groups meet on Saturdays, some meet on Sundays, some meet on Fridays. There's a group that meets on Tuesdays. And the locations, some of the locations are here, events are here at the church, and there are other locations that are what we call destination locations. So we may be out on Portage Lakes, or we may be at a restaurant. So it's various places.
We take all of your students to Starbucks and get them jacked up on caffeine once a week. It's fantastic. But we meet every week at Starbucks at various locations throughout Canton, North Canton, different times. But it's always a good time with your little kiddos.
It's funny. Let's talk about, before we get into everybody that's sitting in the seats looking at us right now, let's talk about you guys personally. Being involved with the Connect Group over the past, what specifically has it done for you? What value has it added to your life? What have you learned through being involved with the Connect Group? What's something that you personally have gotten? Alexis, why don't we start with you? What about you?
Yeah, so I'm not a big relationship person. I have 3 kids and work over full time and don't really have time for more relationships. I have some super friendships and super relationships already established in my life. And so getting involved in a small group setting was kind of a big deal for me. But all I can say to that is that I have met some amazing people, and I realize that, it's not just like Pastor Mike was talking about, what I can consume and what's for me, but what I can give. And sometimes you don't know what that looks like when you're taking that first step and getting involved. But the value is great. The relationships are great. And some significant needs have been met in my life, in our life, as well as we've been able to meet some needs in other people's lives. So it's a win-win situation.
That's good. What about you, man? What hanging out with me, what value have you gotten in your life? Just kidding, all the guys.
I've learned that even pastors are human. No, the value is just being reminded that when you get to share, and then people are saying, hey, that helped me, that was good, that brought further understanding of whatever the topic was, and so knowing that, man, I have value in giving people something to think about, and receiving the same thing. And so just being reminded that that's inside of you, that God's put that there, and then knowing and then realizing on the other end of it, I need to share, because if I don't share, I could be stopping God from using me to help somebody else.
That's good.
And so because of that, I want to be open and sharing. So the value is in just sharing what you've received.
That's good. Because I think we would all say, a lot of times what we tend to do is we devalue our experiences or what we know. We think we don't know much, I don't have much, but life by itself teaches you things, So you may not think I have a plethora of stuff to share, but you really do, just from living life and things that you've gone through. Now, we met Thursday night to kind of go over this weekend and talk. And Val, you said something really interesting about when I said, what value has it added? And you talked about how being involved in a Connect group really causes you to have more buy-in or connectedness or love for the church. Talk about that for just a minute, what that means.
Well, for me, I've been here for quite a while, but for me, just even being in Connect groups makes me feel more like I'm a part of the vision of what the church is doing and what God is doing. But for others who are also in the Connect groups, I feel like it makes them feel like they're more a part of the church, because it's not just a place that you go and visit and you get your 30 or 40 minutes in and then you go on. It is a place where you have relationships, you have people, you have friends, you are a part of a living organization. So
that's good. Now, a lot of times we talked about this last night. The verse that we like to use a lot for church services, which is good, is when the Bible encourages us to not forsake the assembling of ourselves. And we think that's always for a church service, which it is, but oftentimes that's for what we're talking about, small groups. Don't neglect getting together with other believers, like-minded, to talk about what's going on, to pray together, to encourage each other, to challenge each other with life and things like that. Christina, for you guys with nursing moms, with the all-you-can-eat buffet that will forever be etched in our minds, how important is that for that? Because that's such a big life transition for women. How important has the support, the encouragement been in that setting, in that situation?
Yeah, it's been extremely important. It actually exceeded my expectations personally. Having a baby period is the hardest thing that you will ever do if you're a mother. And just having those women that are in the same stage of life and that you can trust, that you can call if you're having a bad day, or text them and they're willing to come over and help you, is such a blessing. It's been a blessing to all the women involved.
That's good. Now, Jason, I love what you said, and this is so funny to me because I think one of the things that concerns is time. And we hear, people talk about this, and we say, yeah, I can probably agree that's important to get in, but I don't have like 3 hours a week to just give to this. Talk about what you guys did your first time that you met with your Connect group to make sure to honor people's time, to stick within a time frame. Tell a story about what you did.
Well, in our training for the Business Connect group, we were told it's 1 hour, all business people, make sure it's an hour, that's it. Which is easy when it's like 3 people, 4 people, and we had 13. So I kind of broke down the math, and everybody had 2 minutes and like 22 seconds to speak. So we set a timer for 2 minutes and 22 seconds and made sure that everybody spoke, and I think we were 2 minutes over the hour.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't perfect, but...
But isn't that great? Because how many of us really were like, I'll go to this, I'm not sure, but I don't want to get stuck. How uncomfortable is it to get stuck in a spot for a long time and you're like, I can't get up. Like, it's awkward if I get up. So to keep it constrained to a time frame, I think is so good, is so important. What are some of the challenges that you guys came up against in your own life when it came to being involved with the Connect group? What were some of the issues? I know, Steve, you work in the oil field, so you're, physically, I'm sure, exhausted by the end of the day. You're doing manual labor. Hard work, and then to do something which a lot of times we leave to the women in the church to do, which is pray. You still come up and have your Connect group and pray. How do you work through that? What are some challenges that you've come up against, and why do you still show up and pray together with men?
It was difficult at the beginning, and once in a while it's still difficult because, Pastor Noah said life happens, and it seems like sometimes when I get ready or getting prepared while I'm at work to lead men's prayer, all hell breaks loose, so to speak. This is wrong, and that's wrong, this is wrong. And then you get home and you haven't eaten properly and you're just tired. But I put a value on praying because I saw it in my wife's life. I didn't feel that it was something that unconsciously, I guess I was thinking that's just a woman's thing. My wife's been in prayer for years. And then I heard Pastor Mike say one time years ago that he was not going to let Pastor Barb out-pray him. And that had stuck with me, but I know it was just a competitive thing with Pastor Mike. But it dawned on me that it's not my wife's responsibility to lead our home and to pray, even though she is a person of prayer. So I got myself around people that can pray to learn how to do that. I just put myself around people so I could learn how to do it. But physically, sometimes that is hard. But I know when we come and we start praying and fellowshipping and praying for each other and praying for the different things that's on our heart, it's like it quickens your mortal body, so to speak. And sometimes it's difficult to go to bed when you get home because you're just spiritually so pumped up from it. So when I start looking at the big picture, when we're done praying, it's like, gosh, I need to do this more often. And then you start doing it in your home at the same time, and it's just it's a wonderful thing. And we have really a good time. We have fun in prayer, and that's what prayer should be. It should be fun but effective.
Yeah, that's good. Talk about that for just a second, because you're in a unique spot. You are a guy who's leading a men's prayer group, which is kind of an anomaly. It's not normative, it's not normal. So I think all of us in church would agree prayer is important. We'd all be like, yeah, we should pray, but the truth is a lot of us probably don't pray or pray as often as we should. If I'm a guy sitting in this congregation, you kind of alluded and talked about it in the beginning, but just rehash again, because I think you've piqued some guys' interest that I want to lead in my house spiritually. I want to be a leader, but sometimes I'm hesitant. I'm not sure if I'm new to prayer. Maybe I've never done it before in my life, or I've kind of, I've tried to pray over dinner or something like that. And I say, okay, I'm going to come to men's prayer. I can come not knowing anything about prayer, not knowing how to pray, not even knowing that there's a right way to pray or not, and you're going to tell me, you're going to show me how. Tell the guys out here, I guess, that don't know or are on the fence, are they good to come regardless? Reiterate what you said. We'll teach you, we'll show you, we'll walk through it with you.
You're good to come because, the guys that have been praying for a long time together, we can really feed off each other and really have a wonderful time in prayer. But when we get a new person in, I think it would be a really bad thing if we said, well, I'm glad you're here and you don't pray very much and really don't pray in the Spirit, but we're just going to start praying and just kind of lose you. So that will never happen. That is the reason why I felt that in my heart that I needed to teach prayer. And so what I do, I'll teach on a certain part of prayer, a certain way to pray for something, and that way it builds up faith in your heart, and then we'll start praying that way. So it's not a hard thing at all, and I understand, because I didn't feel that there was a value in praying because I was a guy and I'm working with a bunch of rough guys, but then God got a hold of my heart and started showing me that it is my responsibility, but it's fun and it's effective, and we just have a really good time. So it doesn't matter what level you're at, and you will fit right into our group, because we will minister to you, we'll talk with you, see where you're at, and answer your questions about prayer, and then we'll pray.
That's good. And you had 8 guys last night sign up for men's prayer. That's awesome, which is great. That's so cool. Catherine, when we were talking, one of your hesitancies, which I think there's a lot of people that are like this, is I'm a personal person. I'm kind of an introvert. I don't want people in my business. Talk about that, and talk about why you decided to open up and allow it to happen.
Yes, I am an extremely private person, and as I told people, I don't do Facebook, I don't do Twitter, and it freaks me out for people to know where I live. So the thought of joining a group and having to give my phone number or something to somebody else was intimidating, to say the least. But I learned so much and grew so much about the importance of not being so concerned with myself and being perfect, but being forthcoming and truthful in all of my trials and my struggles, and how much more helpful that is for me and for the people that I was involved with my group in.
Yeah, that's good. Now, you had said something which all the guys, we might not like to admit this, but this is true. You said Sunday evenings is your Connect group.
Correct.
Sunday nights, football is going on.
Correct.
And it's a decent drive for you guys to go.
45 minutes.
45-minute drive, and miss out on Sunday night football.
Mm-hmm. But it's worth it.
But it's worth it.
You're investing in your marriage. I mean,
talk about it. So talk about it. You know, the first, I'm sure you were hesitant.
Right.
Right? You're like, it's a drive, plus it's the time.
Well, Lex signed us up for it.
Okay.
She's like, our marriage wasn't a mess. Like, we didn't want to do this because our marriage is down the tubes. We wanted to do this for our children and for them to see a godly marriage and what it looks like, and, to represent a kingdom house and what we want to instill in our kids.
Yeah.
So
you'd say for you it was value. It was there's Sunday night football, and there's a 45-minute drive, and it's on my weekend. I could do this and just chill at home, watch some football, or I can invest in buy a DVR and go home, watch it afterwards.
Right.
It's good. It's like a payoff. Like, you have to go home and watch the game with him now, like, because you went to the beer. She's like, no. But you wanted to go ahead. And I love what you said, and I think a lot of people, have that idea and that thought that I have to get involved with a group if I'm really down and out, or I'm struggling in this area. You guys were good. You weren't on the brink of divorce. It was fine. Marriage is fine. You're busy like normal Americans, 3 kids,
correct,
working. But for you, it was preventative. And also, you kind of said it's preventative maintenance because life's going to happen, so you want to make sure. And then for you, being a good example for your kids and stuff like that. That's good. Val, what about you? Hesitancy. Now you're not only involved in a Connect group, you're not only leading a Connect group, now you're overseeing Connect groups. For you in the beginning, hesitancy, what was it for you personally to even consider being involved in a Connect group?
I think anxiety about was I doing the right thing? Was this really what God had for me to do? And my ability to, once I got involved, stay committed. To stay the course, because once you get involved, you want to be able to have people depend on you and be faithful with what you're doing. So
yeah, that's good.
But once I got started, it was so fun until it was easier.
Andrew, you kind of talked about that when it came to you deciding to lead a Connect group, so lead these young girls. It forced you in your personal life to step up your relationship with God so you can lead them. Kind of talk about that for a minute.
For me, I was challenged to take ownership of the position that I was put in, and I learned very quickly that I have to keep filling myself up daily because I'm feeding into these young kids, these girls, and I'm feeding into them all the time, so I can't be on empty. And it's stretched me and it's challenged me. I never would have imagined being up on a stage in front of all you people or leading worship, and knowing that their eyes are constantly on me and looking up to me and coming to me for advice really really put me in a position where I'm like, okay, I need to own this. I need to be there for them. I need to be in a position where they can look up to me, come to me, but I have to stay full when I'm doing that. And I can't waver. I can't let that, fall, to the side. Like, I have to take ownership of it.
Yeah, so it kind of inherently, in one sense, forced accountability in your life.
Absolutely.
A lot of us want to grow in our relationship with God. We want to be more responsible. So when you step up to lead people, even though I know we make it so easy for people to lead, we give them the information, there's still that sense of accountability, like, I gotta show up, I gotta do something, which helps kind of keep us on track sometimes, definitely. Talk about, for you, being involved in a group, what have you learned about other people? What have you learned about, getting in conversation with other guys that are, of the same faith and living life with them? What's some things that have stuck out to you over the time period of other people?
I would say I've learned that people that go to church on a regular basis need to be saved. Wrong perspectives, wrong. No, it's been good. It's just good to see other feedback. You study the Word, you learn the Word, you have knowledge of the Word, and so you think, hey, I know the Word. I've got it figured out here, and then you're always learning. But it's good to hear other people's perspectives, because then you see a different angle from it. They're coming from a different point of view in life. They have different goggles on than you. And so when they share based off of what you share, and you're going back and forth and like, well, I see it this way and you see it this way, then you just get a different perspective. And the more perspective you have, some of the perspective you take and go, hey, now I'm not going to add that one to my life. That enforces what I already think. And some of them, you think, hey, that is a good perspective. I've never looked at it like that before. And then that adds value to your life.
Yeah, that's good. I think one of the great things about Connect groups is that for ours specifically, when I had started it, I wanted to get a group of guys that weren't working at the church, weren't involved. They were involved, but they weren't working on staff at the church, that were kind of just working out in business, partially because I wanted to ask them, like, what's it like out there in the world, Tell me about it. But one of it was because a lot of us have, again, back into experiences, we have our own perceptions, we have our own realities that we're working and we're living from. And when you get to sit down in a group, and like Pastor said, like in a circle, and hear those experiences or realities, a lot of times it might reveal something to you that you need to work on in your own life, might show you something about God, might show you something about business. I'm sure there's been some challenges, ethics, how you run your business, how do we do this together, some accountability. So I think groups not only give you an opportunity to share what you have, but to receive from other people that are just like you, that said, man, I've gone through this before, or I've dealt this, or I've been in that same position. You have 3 older daughters, so you've been in a position that I haven't been in yet, so I can learn from you through that position in that way. Val, you had said something about something that you learned when it comes to other people through being involved with Connect Group. You said something to the effect of, people need to know that they're okay. They need to learn and know that they're okay. Talk about that for a minute. What do you mean when you say they need to learn that they're okay?
Just that all of us are in different places, different ages, different stages in life, different stages in our Christian walk. Some of us are single because of divorce or because of being widowed, or in just different places. And it doesn't matter what your personal situation is. We're all okay just where we are. And even, who you are is somebody that's going to bless another person. And so when we come together, we bring all of our pieces, all of our life experience to the party, and we just share it, and it's okay. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you.
Yeah, that's good. Alexis, talk about, for you guys, being involved with a marriage group, because a lot of times you get around other married couple, you can tend to automatically begin to assess, well, we're better than those guys. We're not as good as those guys. Talk about, what did you learn being in that group with other couples about other people, their marriages? Like Val's saying, people need to learn to be okay. I'm assuming we all have issues. Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, so it was cool because, like Joseph was talking about, perspective is everything. And it was so neat to have people that were married 50 years all the way down to 6 months in our group, and see the perspective change through the generations, and able to speak into our lives, some issues that we may have been going through, or other couples, and finding out that we are not crazy. When 3 kids are screaming in the back seat of the car and we want to just hit park and get out and let them scream, that's okay. We're okay. It's normal.
Don't literally do that, though.
No,
it's
okay, it's okay. Is there a group for that? Better parenting?
Maybe.
I don't know. No, but yeah, so it was just really cool to see that, we're okay, that other people struggle with the exact same things that we struggle with. It's so easy to come to church with this perfect facade, have the kids dressed up and us dressed up and all smiley when, listen, we all know better. That is not what just happened, 5 minutes ago in the car. So it's just good to know that we're all real, that we can all let our guard down and just be transparent with each other and our struggles and gain from each other's perspectives.
That's good. Jason and Catherine, what have you guys learned about your relationship with God? How have you grown in God? You're in a business connect group, so people could say that's very natural. That's just logistics. Maybe in people's mind. What have you actually learned about God, grown in your relationship with God because of being involved in this group?
That He's faithful, and that there's times that you think, man, what am I doing? Why did I do this? And I think that's where the group kind of came in, is I learned that myself, I'm more imperfect than I actually thought I was, which was humbling.
Yeah.
But so is everybody else.
Yeah.
And so that brought comfort, just that I wasn't alone, not only here, but, here as well.
Yeah.
And I think that helped.
Yeah, that's great.
I think the other thing, too, is that we studied biblical principles in the group that actually we applied to our business, and so our employees and our customers actually, I think, gained great benefit and saw a huge impact. But I think our marriage and our children grew from that as well. Those same principles apply across life.
That's good. So in wrapping up here in a few minutes, Christina, what would you say to a mom? Specifically, we'll talk about your group. There's a lot of opinions out there on how to raise kids, especially when they're infant, how to have kids, how to nurse kids. And there's a mom that says, I don't want to get in a group with a bunch of women that are going to tell me their opinion on what I need to do. How do you handle that? How did you handle that? What is that? How do you create a safe environment for everybody that might be of different opinions, different places? What do you do?
Sure. At the beginning of our group last session, I briefly addressed that, but that's the beauty of it. We're not all the same, and having women that believe this or believe that, and having them all come together is in my opinion really beautiful. And we were all there to encourage each other. We weren't there to judge each other, just encourage each other to succeed. We were all, like I said before, in the same stage of life. So, just come as you are.
Yeah, that's good. So you guys had 3 kids, married, took a weekend night, one of your only times, to be away from your kids, which is a big deal. You guys have 4 kids and own a business, and you guys started it. Talk about your guys' when that decision to say, okay, we got a busy life. 4 kids and a business called 4 Kids. Get that? You take the step, you say, we're gonna do this. Why? People are sitting there like, come on. I'm like, I'm good. My marriage is fine. It could probably be better, but it's not bad. We love each other. I got kids, we got baseball games, we got football games, I got work. What am I doing a group for?
She said so. I think if you're looking for the time, you're not going to find it.
Yeah, that's so good.
We didn't have time to spare. Having gone through it, I would say that it took significantly less time than I anticipated, and I got more out of it than I expected.
Yeah.
I think the group really did feed into our lives more than either of us really anticipated. And it was just kind of this leap of, she said, you're doing it, and I said, yes, ma'am.
Yes. And then you had said something, there's never going to be a right time. There's never going to, kind of echoing what Jason just said, you just got to take that first step. You just had to take the first step and get in the car and drive 45 minutes, miss out on Sunday night live football, and do it. Would you take it back? Now, looking at what you've already gone through Marriage University, you've been in the group, pre that, for the drive, for the football games, for the time away from your kids that you missed, do you think it was worth it?
Yeah, the investment that we put into our marriage, divorce rate's going up, why not keep the kingdom firm and sound? And
that's good. That's good. Last couple questions. Joseph, somebody is here and they're on the fence about being involved in a Connect group. Okay, I get it. You know, everybody's busy, so I could probably maybe etch out some time. I'm not sure. I'll go out there, have some conversation, see if there's a group. But I'm still not sure. I'm kind of on the fence. What do you say to that person that's on the fence sitting here today?
Two things. One would be, obviously time is an ongoing deal, but the truth is time is really just an excuse. You have time for what you make time for. The reality is that all of us up here have the same amount of time that you do. Everybody gets 24 hours. We know that. So it would be different, and you have to really check your heart on that, because if Pastor Mike got up and said, hey, we've got 2 tickets to Hawaii. The catch is they leave this afternoon. You might not be able to make it happen, but you would certainly go through your mind with the mindset of, well, what could we do? Who could watch the kids? Can I call mom and she can get them? Can I get out time off of work? You would try to make it happen.
That's good.
It works a little bit different with this because you don't see the value of that. You see the value of Hawaii. Let's go. This, you think, does it really help you? Do these people up here, are they really getting something out of it? You don't see the value. So it's an act of faith. Our church is a large church, and they have a responsibility to make it small for you. At the same time, you also have a responsibility to make it small for you. Well, this is how they've made it. They've taken care of their responsibility, and this is how they've made it small for you. So now you have to do your part and make it small for you by going out there and being part of it.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. That's good. Pastor had kind of alluded to it and said it in his teaching. You know, there's a statement out there that, you know, we really have clung to, and it's you can apply this anywhere in leadership, in business, when you're leading a ministry. A lot of times people look at the leader and there's like this pressure to know everybody. And there's this statement that's out there that we really buy into and believe it's not our responsibility to know everybody, but it is our responsibility to create a place where everybody can be known. And it's kind of like what you just alluded to, where, look, you know, whether you're working in a job, maybe you work for a large company, maybe you're the owner of a large company, you're not going to know intimately every employee. Just like at a church, when you get to this size, leadership's not going to know every person that comes to the church, but we can create an environment for everybody to feel known, to have somebody they can pray with, go to, encourage, all sorts of things like that. You guys talk about it real quick. Somebody's out there, they're married. I don't know if I want to do it, kind of hesitant, I'm on the fence, got kids, busy life, all the things that you guys have going on. What do you tell that person?
Yeah, the first step is always the hardest with anything in life. And so, you know, the first step is just going up to a table and meeting somebody out there. It's that simple. And I would say, you know, as we had talked about it before, that, you know, I didn't have a high value on creating new relationships, but through this experience, I saw what creating, more relationships looks like. And, you know, we're called to be his hands and feet. And how can we do that if we don't have relationships? And how can we have new relationships if we don't take that first step? So, you know, with that being said, I just encourage you all to meet somebody out there. They're not awkward. It's not awkward moments. We all know what you're coming up for, and there's going to be a welcoming face and a sweet hello for you. And I don't know why Pastor Noah doesn't like cats, even though I don't have any. but the first step of going to somebody's home is also super awkward. It was for me, at least, and I know even from our personal experience. When we got there, the Lapps knew our name. They were expecting us. You know, they had a place set aside for us. They had food on their table for us. And they took the extra steps to remove the awkwardness from any situation. So I just encourage you all to get involved, meet some new people out there, and start something wonderful, and see how God pulls greatness out of you and others to meet some specific needs in your lives and theirs.
That's good. I don't like cats because anytime there's cats and food combined, I imagine the person is making something on their counter with their cat walking over it back and forth. It's a mental thing.
Completely understand now.
Andrea, talk to the young people that are in here tonight, and then I want you to also address the parents. The value of getting your young person at this age, this stage of their life, in a Connect group with people that believe the same thing. Right. They go to church, they buy into church, they want to read their Bible, the formative years in their life. Talk about the importance of that, and what would you say to those parents and those young people?
I think for our students, like I've been able to witness firsthand, I've been leading Connect groups with our high school students for like almost 2.5, 3 years now, and just to be able to see the growth in them. They challenge each other, they hold each other accountable, and it's so great to see because they all go to different high schools, so they have their different problems they're facing each day, but we live life together. We go to each other's soccer matches, choir concerts, track meets, and we're constantly supporting each other, and it gives them that sense of accountability that they can pick up the phone, text their friend, and hey, I'm going through this. We send each other our soaps whenever we can do that, and it's just to see the growth in them, and for me to know that, okay, I had a hand in that, and to be able to see, like, okay, they're on the right track, they're doing it. And I think, for you students, like, it's so invaluable. Like, it's just, there's so much value on it that you're going to grow in that, and that you're going to have like these lifelong friends that are going to hold you accountable. They're going to walk along this journey with you. And I guess, for parents, like, I know, we always, you pressure your kids into doing things, but I think if there's anything else you can do, like, this would be the best thing to have them go to do it. You'll see, change in them, whether it be around the house or how they talk to you, how they treat you. I know I'm constantly challenging our students to, be a better person, and I think it has, gone back into their home lives and things like that. And parents, I've had parents numerous times come up to me and tell me what a difference it's making in their kids, and so to know that, it's satisfying and it's very gratifying at the same time.
That's good. And Val, close it out with this. Yeah, clap. Yeah, that's good. If two or more clap, everybody has a clap, or it's an awkward church clap. Val, last question. Person's on the fence about leading a Connect group. I think I could maybe lead something, maybe not sure. What do you tell that person that's thinking about that?
I would tell that person to just come and be a part of a Connect group, and start off by just helping out with a Connect group. Help, to pull together an event for a Connect group, and then take a chance of stepping out a little further and maybe co-leading a Connect group with someone. And then after you do that, you find out that that's fun and comfortable, then launch out and actually lead a Connect group.
That's good.
For yourself. That's kind of like how we do it in the singles.
We got a system set up for you. Make it easy for you.
Just go.
Hey, can you give it up for the panel that's up here that did a great job this morning?